Imagine waking up to a floating fortress hovering above your town. Not only is it strange, but it also contains alien monsters. Fast forward 13 years, this world is consumed by war, where the monstrous beasts clash with brave warriors known as the Dragon Keepers. But it's kind of the new norm, so every Sunday fans witness the intense battle arena fight between the Rangers and the monsters, and their supporting fighters known as Dusters, due to their ability to reshape and heal with their dust-like particles. And they happen to be immortal, or so we're told. Not only did the Dragon Keepers brutally eliminate the Dusters' bosses, they also spared the Dusters' lives only to force them into a deceptive contract. So each week, a Duster must morph into a monstrosity to keep the show going, but despite their efforts, they've lost every single time. Until one week, Duster D decides to fight back against the overwhelming odds, and he realizes that he's outmatched, especially since Dragon Keepers wield a divine artifact that is extremely strong against the monsters. But D has a secret. He can shapeshift into a regular guy and decides it's time to join the Ranger forces. His goal? To get revenge on the 5 Dragon Keepers that killed all of their bosses. Now, to join the ranks of the Dragon Keepers, D must pass the Ranger exam. He meets his fellow Ranger recruits and the Blue and Red Keepers. Disguising himself as the Ranger Hibiki, D infiltrates the ranks and meets the cunning Yumiko, a Yellow Ranger with her own agenda. But finding the Red Dragon Keeper amongst all of the other Red Rangers makes it kinda difficult for D to enact revenge. What's worse is that Yumiko senses his true identity, and rather than exposing him, she proposes an unexpected alliance, even providing information on the Dragon Keeper's 5 legendary divine artifacts. Hibiki overhears their conversation and is now aware of D's true identity, but Hibiki still informs him that he has passed the Ranger test. Continuing his plan, D transforms into the Red Dragon Keeper. Guided by Yumiko through an earpiece, he approaches the hidden chamber, but is caught and forced to fight against Shun, a skilled 3rd-class junior member of the Red Squad. As the conflict escalates, he eventually escapes, only to be confronted by the Red Keeper and a camera crew. Just as it seems D is cornered, the Blue Ranger unleashes his divine artifact on him. But in a shocking twist, D reveals that the arm he lost was part of an elaborate illusion, one that allowed him to escape unnoticed, while also giving Yumiko the chance to securely obtain the Red Dragon Keeper's artifact. So the Dragon Keeper leaders hold a meeting. Red, the leader everyone looks up to, reveals that his divine artifact has been stolen. He's unable to transform out of his full Ranger costume, leaving him vulnerable and frustrated. His junior Jin boldly suggests that Red should step down, blaming him for losing such a critical piece of their defense. But in a flashback, it's revealed that Jin was the one who leaked the artifact's location in the first place. And in a rage-driven fit, Red savagely punches Jin. Somewhere in the depths of the forest, D manages to survive after the events of the previous battle. Hibiki finds him and expresses a desire to assist D and uncover the truth behind the wars. As they connect, Hibiki opens up about his tragic past. His parents, who believed the Rangers were wrong for forcing monsters into battle, fell victim to the monster Patrolla that called himself a god. Patrolla slaughtered all his followers, leaving Hibiki and his sister orphaned. Yet, he was saved by none other than the retired Blue Ranger, who raised him as his own. D and Hibiki form an alliance while Aran, a junior from Blue Squad, searches for D. In a twist, D takes Hibiki hostage in exchange for his replica artifact. But Hibiki escapes, grabs the artifact, and knocks D off a ledge, unaware that they've actually swapped places. Hibiki sacrifices his arm, accepted a Duster mask, and allowed D to clone him to infiltrate the Rangers, sparking a rivalry as they both pursue conflicting goals. One to fix the system, and the other to destroy it. Masked as Hibiki, D finds out that Hibiki has secretly been hiding a Duster named XX in his closet. D tells her he's a fighter too, and she decides to join him. Then, in a surprising visit, D meets Hibiki's sister. She warns him to quit the Rangers, revealing that he's too passive for the fight. But here's the twist. Hibiki's sister is actually the Pink Dragon Keeper's leader. As the final exam begins, the trainees are split into 5 distinct groups. They must defeat the 5 monsters played by the current junior Rangers. and each team needs to grab a key matching their color to escape the field and earn a chance to be scouted by the squad. They have 3 days to complete the exam. A flashback reveals that Kai's older brother died 4 years ago at the hands of the boss monster Patrolla, but that shouldn't be, because the boss monsters were defeated 13 years ago. The next day, Kagome punches Hibiki, but realizes he's a monster. Despite their differences, they decide to team up. Meanwhile, Yumiko surprises them by handing over the yellow key, and she's again aware of Hibiki's true identity as D. Meanwhile, Yukino snatches the yellow key, but Hibiki's team fakes the end of day sound so the other team can let down their guards, allowing them to take the yellow key back. Meanwhile, the maintenance guy finally checks on Hibiki's room after Hibiki's request for a strange noise he heard earlier. He discovers XX hidden in the closet and decides to help her escape, but in that moment, he is tragically shot and killed by the god monster Peltrolla, who was drawn by XX's distress signals. Peltrolla crashes through the hallways, leaving a trail of destruction with XX by his side. The junior Blue Ranger, Komachi, becomes his next victim, suffering a deadly injury. But just when hope seems lost, Kagome charges in to save her. Sadly, Kagome's heroism comes at a high cost, his life. Now here's the twist. XX takes Kagome's place, assuming his form. Hibiki and his team discovers that their dragon gadgets have an alternative form that is packed with power, but it can only be used for a limited time. Now the Blue Ranger discovers Kagome, now transformed into XX. He confronts her, tortures her for information on Peltrolla, the monster who actually named XX. Hibiki rushes to save his so-called teammate, but the Blue Ranger unleashes his divine artifact, causing floating explosions that injure XX and doesn't allow them to regenerate their hands. Luckily, the Blue Ranger has not figured out that Hibiki is actually D. Guided by XX, they finally track down Peltrolla, who is transformed into a massive tree. The Blue Ranger attempts to defeat Peltrolla with his divine artifact, but Peltrolla releases countless clones of himself from the tree. And as long as one of these clones escapes to the surface, his reign will continue. The juniors arrive in a last-minute effort to defeat the escaping clones, while the Blue Ranger unleashes devastating attacks on the clones, with XX desperately trying to shield one of Petrolla's clones from harm. Now, during all this chaos, Hibiki receives a vision that reveals he must not destroy the Rangers, but instead look for a way to mend their fractured bond. Meanwhile, Yumiko secretly tips off a Petrolla clone to eliminate the first-class juniors, and that she will secretly help one of his clones escape. Peltrolla grabs Yukino, intent on escaping, so Ishikawa steps in heroically to protect her, but he takes a lethal blast, and in that moment, Yukino retrieves her weapon, and the remaining trainees activate their hidden weapons, defeating the 3 bird-like clones alongside Petrolla. In a moment of reflection, we see the past of Oshima, the current Blue Ranger, once a thief whose life took a turn when he unknowingly worked for a boss monster. Oshima was able to give some of the dirty money to Blue Ranger, the same one that started an orphanage and raised Hibiki and his sister. When the Blue Ranger passed, the Red Ranger had Oshima take the role of Blue Ranger. Back to the present, Hibiki steps forward, revealing his true identity as a monster to the Blue Ranger. The Blue Ranger, still recovering from his battle with Peltrolla, explains that his divine powers come from the Dragon God. He mentions that the shield power came from a girl, but he remains very cryptic about her identity. Just as they are about to clash, a sudden laser from one of Peltrolla's bird minions strikes the Blue Ranger, piercing him through the head. Amongst the chaos, XX arrives dramatically, swallowing the bird whole in a last-ditch effort to escape. With the loss of the Blue Ranger, the remaining juniors realize they need more manpower. It becomes clear that they must level up the cadets in preparation for the looming threat. With the Blue Ranger dead, the Red Ranger is on a mission to root out any potential traitors within their ranks. As tension rises, Shun confronts Yumiko, suspecting her of being the traitor. Yet, he finds himself helpless due to his own involvement by using tools that were stolen by monsters. Meanwhile, we see Kagome, who was previously thought to be dead after the attack, has actually been taken to the hospital and is alive, though in critical condition. In the final scene, we see a man with facial scars and piercing green eyes. He's listening to the radio, which reports on the devastating loss of the Blue Ranger. Now, Season 2 is releasing this April, and this new character's presence hints at deeper layers. What plans does he have, and how will it impact the current situation? Will D continue to train as Hibiki, or will he be hunted? And we're trying to build this anime corner to 1,001 subscribers by this summer. And we're so close. So don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell to join our growing community of anime fans. And until next time, bye!